Hi, DataBen here. Today we're going to build a new project which is a branding tool. So we have a table of data here and for what looks like some toys, and we may have been asked to rebrand all of the tables in various Excel workbooks and PowerPoint and so on. And we want to make a start to actually automate this process for us to save ourselves a lot of time in rebranding. And we're going to start building the simple rebrander to begin with, and so we can actually reformat the tables into the new style guides that we've been given. So you can see here I've got some brand settings for things like the table header, what the rows background color should be, what the text should be, and so on. So if I actually including things like the font and whether it should have borders. So if I click rebrand, you'll see it applies the settings there to the table automatically via VBA. And if I change the header, for example, to orange and rebrand again, or change the color of the text, you can change and rebrand to anything else, anything that you want. So this is the tool that we're going to create today. Let's get started. If you go back into VBA with Alt F11 or Function Alt F11 on Mac and go to the Excel Preferences option, we want to actually tick something called Require Variable Declaration. This is a one-time setting and which will require us to declare our variables when we're writing code from now on. So you just need to make sure this is enabled from this moment on. And next we want to insert a new module. So click on Insert Module, and a new module will appear, and it'll just have this one line of option explicit in, which is a line which means we want to declare our variables in our code from now on. All you need to know is that it's a very good practice to always have this option showing. So you'll see it's called Module 1 here, but we want to give it a bit of a name to describe exactly what we're doing. So I'm just going to call this rebranding tool, and then we want to begin our code. So this is going to be a subroutine, so we start with sub, and then let's also call this rebranding tool, and then press enter, and you'll see it fills in the end sub automatically. And the next thing we need to do is we want to declare our variables. So what we want to do is bring all of the settings in from the worksheet into VBA itself. Things like the background, the header color, the text color, the background color, border color, and so on. So let's start to bring this all into VBA. So first we need to declare variables. So we'll first looking at the header, so header color. So we want to start with dim header color as long. Okay, so dim in VBA means dimension, and this is how you declare a new variable that you're going to use through your code. You then have to give this variable a data type, and we've given it the data type of long. So I'm going to cover data types in another tutorial. But a long is a number between negative 2.1 billion and positive 2.1 billion. And the reason we've called the header color, well, we've declared it as a long, is because colors underneath the surface are recorded as, or underneath what you can visually see, are actually recorded as numbers, either as color index numbers or as RGB values. And we want to actually record the RGB value. So let's see if we can work out how to record or get the color. So first we want to see if we can get the color. So we'll go to the immediate window, do the question mark, which means we want an answer to what we're putting in. And we'll see that it's on range G2. We have the dark green color. So we'll do range G2 dot interior. So that's getting the interior of the cell. Dot color, and press return, and it does come back with a number. This doesn't mean too much to us, but it's an RGB number or actually it's a translated RGB number, but all you need to know is this 2315831 number represents the dark green here. So we want to store this. So let's call color header color. Actually, let's just set that. So range G2 dot interior dot color. And let's just run the code to see if it works. Yeah, okay, so there's no issues there. We'll left click here to put a stop and click play again. And then we'll move forward one line with F8 or Command Shift I. And we'll see here in the bottom right in the locals window, you can see the value, that's 2315831, has been successfully committed to memory. So now we're going to get all of the rest of the colours into their own variables. So now we've got all of the variables set up here for the cell colours. So we've taken all of these colours here and assigned them to individual variables. It's good to give them good and descriptive variable names. So you can see here we have header colour, row colour, background colour, body text colour, and so on. This makes it easier for you to track what you're doing as you go along. So now let's try and apply some of these colours to the table itself. First to the header row, which is range A1 to D1. So if we type range A1 to D1 dot interior dot color equals, and we'll actually apply the header color that we saved earlier on. And let's press play on this and then see if it's updated the color, which it has. It's applied the color automatically to the header of the table. Let's see if we can now do this for the rest of the code. So we want to alternate the background colours for the body of the table. So boat and football, we want to have the coloured rows. So if we do range A3 to D3 dot interior dot color equals row color, and range A5 to D5 dot interior dot color equals row color, and we'll run this code again. Press play, and there we go, it's updated with the correct colours already. Next we want to actually change the colour of the text, which is something we haven't done yet. So this time for the header, which we'll put below where we change the background colour of the header. So again, range A1 to D1. But this time we will do dot font dot colour, and we'll change it to the header text colour that we've saved, and we'll play that, and it's done it. It's changed the text colour, and we'll do that for the body text as well, but we'll do this to apply to the entire table. So range A2, or the entire body of the text, to D5 dot font dot color equals body text color, and we'll run that, and it's changed to dark green, so it's applied that as well. We also would like to have maybe a bit of a border around here, which is going to be the background color. So this is going to be underneath and to the right of the table. So we'll go back to the code and do range, let's see here, A6 to E6 dot interior dot color equals background color, and again we'll run the code, and it's changed it, and then E1 to E5. So E1 to E5 dot interior dot color equals background color, and we'll run that again. Oh, just a bit of a spelling mistake there. Back colour, and that's done it. That's given us the full effect there of the background colours. Okay, so a problem we have now is that we keep having to go back into VBA to run the code. which is very not user friendly. So first thing we want to do is now is create a button. So you want to go to the Developer tab on the ribbon. If this doesn't appear for you, go to Excel Preferences and click on the ribbon and toolbar and tick the Developer toolbar option there, and it will appear. And when you're on this bar, click on the button, or the command button on PC, and when you start to draw it, it will ask you which workbook you want to, or which macro you want to assign it to. And as we've been already building this code, we can already link it to this macro. So choose the macro and click OK, and it will create the button for you. And then just move this out as you need. Then click inside to change the name on the button, to change the text. So we'll just call this Rebrand, and then let's just check whether this actually works. So if we change some of the colors here, so I'll change the header to a red, click on Rebrand, and there we go, it's now fully functioning, attached to the button. We'll just check by maybe changing the background color as well. And yes, we can see there that the button is working successfully. Another good thing to do is if we go back into our VBA, we'll see that we've started to write quite a bit of code here. And if we scroll down and we come back to this tomorrow, then you might be confused as to what you've done. So it's very good practice and good coding practice in general to comment your code. So I'm just going to add some comments to say what we've done in each section so far. Okay, we've added the comments, and we've also added a couple of new lines. So the font body, or the body font variable, and the header font variable. So we've actually assigned these as .value, so G5 and G7. If we look at the text there, we can see that we've set the font to Arial, but we want to be able to change this. So we've assigned the value to these two variables, and we've set these as strings because we're actually storing text instead of colors. So the actual word Arial is stored in these two variables. And then to actually assign these to the table, you can see we've done range A1 to D1.font.name and assigned it, and A2 to D5.font.name to assign the body font. So next we want to see if this works. So if we change this, let's say the boss wants to change it to Comic Sans to match the toy theme going on here. Let's rebrand, and you can see there that it actually changes and is rebranded successfully. So if we change this to Calibri, for example, and you can see that it changes once again. So you can actually just test that this works as well. So we've changed the colors and the fonts so far. The last thing we want to do is to be able to change the borders and add a border, and we want to be able to change the border color. Okay, so we've added a few new lines here. First, the borders variable, which is whether we're asking for borders, yes or no, and then the actual color in cell G10. So, and then we're doing our first if statement. So an if statement is a conditional statement. So you can say if this condition is true, then do this. And you can also say things like if this condition is false, do this, and so on. So we're saying if the borders setting is yes, then we want to change the borders. So the range.borders.line style. We want to change it to continuous, which makes it a fully filled line rather than the dotted options or the dashed options that you can get for borders. And then we want to set the border color in the table to the border color that we've chosen. And so now let's see if this works. So we've got borders as yes and the border color is grey. So if we click on rebrand, we see, that yes, the borders are added. And then let's see if we change the colors. So if we change this to say a yellow color, whether this works, which it does. So we've got all of the options implemented on the rebranding tool that we want. We can change the colors of the headers, the background, what the individual row background colors are, the fonts, and so on throughout this tool. So in this lesson, we covered the rebranding tool and being able to automatically apply branding according to some settings that we've applied ourselves. So we've taken the brand settings here in the column G and applied them to the tables in column A to D. So this really is the sky's the limit for VBA. So we could really build upon this tool to say apply the settings to multiple tables at the same time, or entire workbooks, or even multiple files at the same time. Apply this to graphs and so on. So the sky's the limit with VBA, and you can do many exciting automation activities with this. And I hope this lesson has given you a glimpse of the possibilities of VBA. Stay tuned for the next lesson.